Imagine a super genius. I'm talking a literal PhD, Mensa level IQ, the kind of person who solves Rubik's Cubes blindfolded just to feel something. But then you look at their bank account and it's pure static. It's a tragedy, right? It's confusing because we're taught from the time we're in kindergarten that intelligence equals success. We're told that if you're smart, you'll be rich. But the real world truth, the truth that actually matters, is that when it comes to money, a high IQ can actually be your biggest enemy. It can be a cage. My name is Ian, and I obsess over the small habits, the tiny invisible gears and triggers that either build a kingdom or burn it down. Today, we are dissecting the psychology, the raw, messy, real-world psychology of why smart people stay broke. You see, it's not about how smart you are, it's about how you think about money. Actually, let's look at the complexity bias. Smart people, they hate simple answers. They really do. If I tell you that the secret to wealth is just $10 a day in a boring fund, your brain rejects it. You think, that's too easy. I'm smarter than that. So you go out and you look for the most complicated, the most convoluted, the most high-level strategy you can find. You're looking for alpha. You're looking for quant strategies. You're looking for things that require a spreadsheet with 50 tabs. But in the real world, complexity is just a hedge for a lack of discipline. You're over-engineering a problem that was solved 100 years ago. It's like trying to build a rocket ship to go to the grocery store. You're doing way too much. And then there's the hedonic treadmill. Smart people usually land high-paying jobs. They make $200,000, $300,000, maybe more. But as the income goes up, the lifestyle just sprints to catch up. You get the promotion, so you get the house with the pool. You get the bonus, so you upgrade the car to something with a status badge. You're running faster and faster, but you're staying in the exact same place. You're rich on paper, but you're broke in reality because your overhead is a monster that never stops eating. I've seen it. I've seen doctors who are literally one missed paycheck away from a total collapse. It's a high salary, zero net worth disease. And they justify it. They say, I worked hard for this. I deserve this. But do you deserve to be a slave to your own mailbox? Do you deserve to be terrified of a recession because you have $15,000 in monthly bills? That's not success. That's a pretty prison. The other day I was talking to this guy, brilliant engineer, making huge money. And he tells me he's waiting for a recession to start investing his $100,000 cash. He says, Ian, the P/E ratios are too high. The macro environment is unstable. I told him, man, you're trying to be a weather reporter while the house is already built. You're sitting on cash that loses power every single day because you're too smart to just buy the S&P 500 and go for a walk. You're over-indexing on news that won't matter in 2046. And the irony, the real world irony, is that the guy at your office who can barely work the copier but puts $300 a month into a boring fund is going to retire with double what you have. Why? Because he isn't trying to outsmart the system. He's just letting the system work. He's the tortoise. You're the hare who's too busy arguing with the track. But let's get into the safety net paradox. See, smart people often think they are playing it safe, but they're actually playing it dangerous. They are terrified. They're lying awake at 3 a.m, staring at the ceiling, just staring at it, and their mind is racing through every possible financial disaster. They think about the car breaking down, the laptop dying, or maybe the pet needs emergency surgery. And because they are so smart, they keep $50,000 sitting in a checking account, earning 0% because they want to be ready. But being ready for a $2,000 repair by losing $3,000 a year to inflation, that's not smart. That's a careful calculation that leads to a potential catastrophe. You're constantly playing defense instead of being proactive about your future. There's a specific psychological shift that happens when you actually put that money to work. It changes your brain chemistry. Neuroscientists, real-world neuroscientists, found that financial security reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. But smart people, they get addicted to the stress of watching the money. They think watching it is the same as managing it. It's not. It really isn't. Actually, think about the check engine light. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, that light is a countdown to disaster. You're panicking about credit cards or borrowing from family. But when you have that foundation, that first $10,000, that same light is just a mild annoyance. It's a shift from panic to strategy. And here is the kicker. The benefit doesn't come from spending the money. It comes from knowing it's there. Most people who hit that milestone don't even change their spending habits. They change their relationship with risk. They stop just surviving and start thinking about opportunities, education, businesses, moving to better locations. They have the mental bandwidth to actually improve their situation because they aren't gasping for financial air. And we have to talk about the sunk cost fallacy. Smart people, they hate being wrong. They hate it. So they'll stay in a bad investment, or they'll keep throwing money at a failing business idea, or they'll stay in a high-stress job they hate just because they invested so much time or money into it. They'll say, I can't quit now. I've put 5 years into this. But those 5 years are gone, man. They're gone. You're throwing good money after bad because your ego won't let you admit that the smart move you made 3 years ago turned out to be a dud. It's okay to be wrong. In the real world, the most successful people are the ones who can say, yeah, that didn't work. Next. But smart people, they'll write a 50-page thesis on why they're actually right and the market is just wrong. Good luck with that. The market has an infinite bank account. You don't. You need to stop being right and start being rich. Actually, the hardest part isn't even the saving itself. It's developing the identity of a person who saves. Most people treat it like a temporary diet and then burn out. But the people who win, they see themselves differently. They start noticing opportunities to cut expenses they never saw before. They get creative with income. It's a masterclass in mindset. You learn the difference between wants and needs, and you develop the patience to delay gratification. That is the single most valuable skill you can ever learn. It's why the person with $10,000 saved is closer to independence than a guy making double who has zero, because the saver knows how to keep money, not just earn it. And those small optimizations, the car insurance, the phone plan, they compound. They free up mental energy so you stop making survival-based calculations 50 times a day. Imagine not having to choose between the generic or name brand pasta because you're worried about the balance, but because of what you actually want to eat. That's freedom. Those two things, they rarely live in the same house. They really don't. I've seen people who spent 20 years in school and now think their education means they don't have to follow the basic rules of gravity. Gravity doesn't care about your degree. Neither does compounding. If you interrupt the compounding because you had a bad feeling about a headline, you've essentially set fire to your own future. And you'll justify it. You'll say, I was protecting my principal. No, you were being a coward with a big vocabulary. Actually, let's call it what it is. It's financial masochism. You're punishing your future self to soothe your current ego. You're over-analyzing the risk of a 10% dip while ignoring the 100% risk of staying stagnant. It's a math-based delusion. You need to stop. You need to breathe. You need to understand that the smartest thing you can do is to be humble with your money, to understand that simple consistency beats complex genius every single time. Every single time. To escape this, you have to admit your brain is wired to sabotage you. You need to automate everything. If you have to choose to invest every month, you'll eventually make the wrong choice. Make it invisible. Embrace the boring. The S&P 500 isn't a game, it's a foundation. Stop trying to be a hero and start being a machine. Focus on net worth, not income. Your $250,000 salary is just a job. Your assets, that's your freedom. The real miracle isn't a stock pick, it's the calendar. It's the $10 tree you plant today so you can sit in the shade 20 years from now. Don't let your intelligence be your prison. You don't need a more complex brain. You need a more consistent soul. Understand that ready is a trap, perfect is an excuse, and simple is the only thing that actually scales. Break the cycle. Stop overthinking the math and start respecting the clock. Plant your $10 seed. I'm Ian. Don't be broke. Stay smart by being simple. See ya.